Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. Let's take a look at our solar winds right now, sitting at 422.4 kilometers per second with a density of 3.9. Our sun is blank once again, 15 days in a row now, 184 days in 2019 without sunspots. Somebody left a comment, same gentleman, Simon, and good question too. What is the record of sunspots not being present on our star? And I had to look that one up. According to SPACEWEATHER.com, back in the 2008-2009 minimum, we had 52 days in a row without sunspots. And during that minimum period, we had 813 spotless days throughout the entire minimum. So kind of give you an idea of just how deep this minimum could be. Right now we're sitting at 15, and we've had this several times. We've had days of 30 days in a row, and then we get a sunspot. So not uncommon to have a long streak like this. But just for all of you out there who are wondering what the record was, it's 52 days without sunspots is the record that was set back in the 08-09 minimum. Looking at our KP indices, sitting at a 2 right now with a 24-hour max of 4. So that solar wind that we had yesterday put levels at unsettled but not quite storm levels, and I don't think our solar wind speeds exceeded 480 kilometers per second. So now, if you guys take a look at the SDO, we do have another coronal hole that is getting ready to become Earth-facing. Let's take a closer look at it. And there you see it there, guys, on your right. I'm sorry, your left. This solar wind stream should be here by September 23rd. And just like I said last night, we are tracking another large coronal hole just above the equatorial region on the other side of the eastern limb. So we could have even more coronal holes to deal with here in the near future. But as far as sunspots are concerned, nothing. No active regions, nothing, nada. All right, guys, let's take a look at our weather. And again, I had to show this off one more time. This was on the GSM community feed. Again, I encourage all of you to go to the grandsolarminimum.com and register. It's just like Facebook, except it's better because you don't get censored, and you guys are more than welcome to speak freely on the topic of Grand Solar Minimum without old Zuckerberg pulling your post down. All right, let's take a look at our weather for today, guys. So here are the areas that we are looking at for potential severe weather. We have showers and thunderstorms once again across Minnesota and Wisconsin. I feel like a broken record in that department. The Northwest also slight chance for severe weather. And Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida, you guys also have an increased risk for severe weather. Nothing too crazy though. And across the United States, honestly guys, you couldn't ask for a better weather pattern right now other than the storm that we're dealing with in Texas, Imelda. And let's take a closer look at that. This is for Lake Charles here, guys. Take a look at the radar. Beaumont, Lake Charles just now starting to get on the action. Houston has been pummeled. This storm has not moved very far from where we reported this last night. Now, there are several flood watches, flood warnings right now that just recently popped up. One in Beaumont. Port Arthur is just on the edge of another one. Galveston, be on the lookout. They have what you call a hazardous weather outlook. Is what that warning is. I've never seen that one before. But this storm is not done by any means, folks, unfortunately. And here is a look at some of the current conditions right now in that region. Lake Charles with heavy rain right now, 81 degrees is going to be the temperature. It's very hot and muggy, of course, down there in the south. Tropical moisture. But we will keep our eyes on this because, well, this particular storm is just going to be a rainmaker, pretty much. Don't have to worry about winds too much. Maybe some isolated tornadoes, but nothing too crazy. Now, here's a look at the tropics and the Atlantic. Humberto is moving on out. Imelda is already onshore, but is just a tropical depression, so it was never a hurricane. And then we've got what it looks like Hurricane Jerry, or what they're saying it's going to be. Right now, it's a tropical storm. Tropical Storm Jerry with winds of 45 miles per hour, a central pressure of 1,004 millibars, and is moving right now west-northwest at 11 knots, which is 13 miles an hour. This storm also is expected to miss the United States. The track on this, a lot of people are agreeing it's going to curve up and do the same thing. These two areas of interest were not here last night, so these were new. And I was watching other news sources where they were concerned about a wave that was coming off of here yesterday. Now, this area that was here has redeveloped because there wasn't really much going on off the coast of Africa. So there's a redevelopment going on. 20% chance of cyclonic formation here in the next 3 to 5 days. And then this storm will move up into here. Now, the concern can be, and these late year hurricanes always go through the Gulf. Usually the Gulf of Mexico is a lot warmer than other temperatures. But let's go ahead and get some stats on this here. ThankYouWeather.com. There's our current radar, as we've already showed you guys. But I want to show you the totals. Check this out. Freeport, Texas already has seen about 8 to 12 inches of rain. This is just what's happened now. Near Freeport, near the coast, 12 to 18. So there's areas that's almost received 20 inches of rain already, folks. Houston's in the 3 to 5 range. That total will add as well. Port Arthur, 3 to 5 inches of rain. Lake Charles has already experienced right around the 4 to 6 range of rain right now. How much more is left to come? This is what they're calling for through Friday. So whatever we already just showed you, this is going to be the additional rainfall. So Lake Charles, you already have about 4 to 6 inches of rain. Expect another 5 to 8 inches through Friday. Port Arthur, same story. Expect another 8 to 12 inches of rain in your area. Galveston, expect another 3 to 6 inches of rain. Houston's on the very outskirts of this. They've got about 3 to 5 inches of rain now. They're looking at about 2 to 3 isolated 5 inches of rain from this storm. So there's going to be lots of flash flooding over here. Texas was in a mini drought, so to speak. They haven't had a lot of moisture over there. So this heavy rain really fast will cause flash flooding. There are flood warnings all across this area that we just mentioned. So, and I'll show you that drought map. So just imagine that, how quickly they must be flooding right here with all this dry, and nothing's extreme or severe over here as far as drought. You got a couple areas that are a little bit drier than others, but for the most part, this is typical for Texas. Nothing major, but definitely in the Houston, Galveston, Beaumont, Lake Charles area, you're going to get your rain, your month's worth here for sure, maybe the next 2 months worth of rain. So there won't be much of a drought situation in that part of the state. So, and with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the GFS for today. There's our storm Humberto taking off. Let me scroll that up a little bit for you guys. Again, this storm in Texas should be moving through the area Thursday. On into Friday, it starts to pretty much fall apart as it goes into the Midwest. And this high pressure system is going to rotate that moisture up through Missouri and Iowa and Illinois and all the way around the Great Lakes as this storm starts to, or I'm sorry, the high pressure anyway, starts to spin it off to the east. Another low pressure system pushing this to the east as well. High pressure to the southeast, which is this is one of the reasons why I think this particular storm here, Jerry, which if you guys take a look down the corner, I think this is the part of the reason why you've got this high pressure ridge and it's rotating everything this way. So I'm pretty sure this is part of the reason why we're not going to see this storm take the hit the coast, because it's too strong of a high pressure. The storm's going to hook up and go out to sea just like the other ones. So that's all the way to Monday of next week. I will show you at the very end the areas that we showed you that were of concern. Watch the Gulf of Mexico, and I'll point it out here in a second. I might have to move this up a little bit. Yeah. So let me move this screen up just a little. Whoops. Here we go. So check that out. That is our next system. Now, this is all the way to October 3rd, so by any means, we have plenty of time to watch this and monitor it. But just like we were worried about, this system is going to come up through the Gulf where the waters will still be kind of warm. Now, This storm is very disorganized according to the GFS. We're not quite sure, of course, it's still 2.5 weeks away. But this area does appear that it's going to survive and make it to the Gulf. And if it does, the water temperatures are just right. We could see a possible tropical depression or tropical storm out of this. The likelihood of a Cat 1 storm, at this point, looking at it, I'm just not seeing it, but a lot can change. Like I said, we're 16 days away from this particular forecast. So just kind of throwing it out there to be on the lookout. Tropical storm Jerry does not seem to be a threat at this time. Imelda is dumping buckets of rain in Texas, and Umberto, of course, is moving off to the middle of the Atlantic. So the next storm system we have to watch after Imelda is going to be this area of interest here in the Gulf in the next few days. And quickly before I head off the air before tonight's show, because I'll give you a more fuller in-depth forecast. This is Monday, September 23rd, and I want to focus on the temperatures across Kansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, parts of Missouri. Guys, notice what we're looking at here. That's a nice warm day here on the 23rd. But we're starting to see that summer heat in the Farm Belt disappear. All right, so by next week, September 26th, according to this GFS map, we got temperatures that will be sitting in the 70s and 60s for what it looks like the remainder of the month. I mean, look at Nebraska. Those are daytime highs, folks. September 29th, 60 degrees near McCook, Nebraska. And then, of course, we get one more blast of hot air on September 30th before, once again, this cold front pushing through cooler air, temperatures in the 70s, 60s, and by October, here comes even more colder air to invade the United States. So that heat that we need for crop growth, again, we're 3 to 4 weeks behind. So this is important to see the heat as long as we're seeing. It looks like all the way through, we get another hot day on September 30th, but 70s, mid-70s for the most part for the farm areas here in the middle of the country, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, parts of Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Temperatures are not looking too cooperative, but it's not the end of the world either. As you guys can see, the freezing area, if you live in BC or Alberta, that's where you've got the worst of the cold, plus Montana. And no, folks, don't worry about any negative 100-degree temperatures anytime soon in Montana. All right, that's going to do it for us this morning on our morning update. We will be back tonight at 9 p.m. with a full report on the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Until then, we will talk soon, guys. Take care.
Like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.